All right, guys, this is the big question. This is the huge question when it comes to Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones. Is this bad for boxing? Let's go ahead and dive headfirst into that question. This is Edward, and you're watching Boxing Fanatico. All right, guys, before we go ahead and talk about the opinion of if Mike Tyson and Roy Jones is bad for boxing, I want to hit you guys with just the facts. And the reason I want to hit you guys with just the facts at first is because there has been a lot of misleading information based off of a statement said by the California State Athletic Commission. So we need to clear that air first before we dive deep into the opinion of what Mike Tyson and Roy Jones can do to boxing. First of all, the company that is running this pay-per-view is called Triller, which is an application company which uses AI algorithmic technology for artists, singers, and things of that nature. But they were able to acquire the Mike Tyson fight. Now it goes without being said that those who weren't able to acquire the Mike Tyson fight are pushing the narrative that there isn't going to be any scoring or there isn't going to be knockouts and it's just going to be a pity pat slap contest. That is not true. However, you cannot look at this fight as a normal fight. If you're thinking to yourself, oh, this is being sanctioned by the California State Athletic Commission, so therefore they will be scoring and have their judges and so on and so forth, that's not happening. The California State Athletic Commission, they themselves will not be scoring it. That was their stipulation, that this will be an exhibition match, a hard sparring session. Therefore, there should not be judges, there should not be knockouts, and we're not judging anything. You guys are going out there and doing your thing. However, the WBC created a loophole where there will be judges just remotely, not at the event, who will determine a winner, and a belt, a WBC sanctioned belt, will be awarded, which will be called the Frontline Battle Belt, and it will have a Black Lives Matter inscription on it. That will be awarded to the winner of that fight. Knockouts will be part of the event. If Mike Tyson, for example, knocks out Roy Jones, Mike Tyson will win. What State Athletic Commission is stating is that there would be no winner even if there's a knockout because of the fact that there's no judges. So there was a misleading element there. However, the Nevada State Athletic Commission also did state that if there is a cut, the fight will be stopped. And in that instance, that creates a unique element where just because there's a cut, the fight has to end. But there will be scoring just in a loophole fashion. The people that will be scoring it are former fighters, which one is Chad Dawson, 2 is Vinny Pazienza, and 3 is Christy Martin. They will be the remote judges for this fight, and we will have commentators and analysts talking about the fight, 2 of which will be Sugar Ray Leonard and MMA pound-for-pound superstar and undefeated fighter Israel Adesanya. So those will be the commentators and judges for the fight, but they will be judging it remotely. This is the loophole that the WBC is creating so that this actually becomes a competitive fight, separating itself from the California State Athletic Commission, who will not be scoring the fight. This is the only way that they allow this fight to continue. Remember, they have a combined age of 105 years old. So this is the only way this even was sanctioned with all these different rules. They were supposed to wear headgear, but both Mike Tyson and Roy Jones decided they did not want to wear headgear under any circumstances. Therefore, the rounds were reduced from 3-minute rounds to 2-minute rounds, and they will only be facing in 8 rounds. Now, Triller is saying that the results will reflect on their record, but the California State Athletic Commission is saying that it will not. So that is up in the air. We don't know. We'll see. Also, the reports of the pay-per-view record, pre-sale records being shattered, please take that with a grain of salt. However, I'm not saying that this won't make huge pay-per-view numbers. I do not believe that it will break pay-per-view numbers like Conor McGregor versus Mayweather or Manny Pacquiao versus Mayweather, but it might. I don't think so, because that's a very high number that has to reach. The pre-sale pay-per-view records that it's shattering is Fight.tv's pre-sale pay-per-view records in their history, also Triller's history of pre-sale pay-per-view records, which you aren't really saying much, but it's still a big deal, and it's, you know, it's garnering a lot of casual boxing fan interest. For example, the host is Mario Lopez, and we will have musical performances by Lil Wayne, YG, Neo, Wiz Khalifa, and French Montana. So it's a big event. It's a spectacle event that's going to take place this Saturday, November 28th. Also on the undercard will be Jake Paul, the YouTube sensation, versus Nate Robinson, the former NBA basketball player who played for the Knicks and the Bulls. He will be fighting Jake Paul, who I believe is undefeated right now in the social media realm of boxing, with like 2-0. I think he has 2 wins and no losses, but you can correct me on that. I didn't really check for his record, but I think he's 2-0. Also, Badu Jack will be fighting Black McKernan, and also I forgot to mention that 12-ounce gloves will be used in that fight with Mike Tyson and Roy Jones, just to reduce the impact of the punches as much as the California State Athletic Commission can. Now, all this information in terms of the loophole and how there will be scoring the fight and how knockdowns and knockouts will be put into the equation has come from Ryan Kavanaugh, who is the co-owner of Triller. So the people who are publishing this fight have confirmed this information, and people like DAZN and other report outlets and stuff like the UFC, they didn't land this fight. So there are some skewed information that they're willing to give you, and then other information that they're not. But this is the facts about what's going down with the fight. Also, Mike Tyson has been given a guarantee purse of $10 million, while Roy Jones has been given a guarantee of $1 million, but can make up to $3 million, according to Yahoo Sports' Kevin Lowell, as well as Dan Raphael from ESPN. So now that we got all of the facts cleared, there will be a competitive element to it. It's just loopholed, so we won't have judges there. They'll be remote, but knockdowns and knockouts will be part of the equation, and we'll be able to know who won and who lost. Hopefully there's no cuts, because that is where the line might be drawn when it comes to the California State Athletic Commission, because if there is a cut, then they will have to stop the fight. Remember, they have a combined age, guys, of 105 years old. That is crazy, but it is what it is. This is a spectacle event. People are going to watch it based off of that spectacle. Now, not too long ago, I talked about Logan Paul versus KSI Part 3 and how that would actually help boxing because of the fact that it can bring in casual fans. What diehard boxing fans love to do, and this is unfortunate, and then nothing against you because I feel the tendency to do this as well, is that we try to never legitimize any illegitimate type of event, because to many of us, we feel that it's almost making fun of the classiness and the skill and all the things that come with two major fighters fighting each other, or professionals who've worked hard on their craft actually getting in the ring and competing, as well as the connective tissue to what one win could mean for a fighter and what his future opponents are going to be, and just that world. We feel that these kind of events, many of the diehard boxing fans feel that these kind of events poke fun at those events. That's why a lot of people didn't like, for example, Mayweather versus Conor McGregor. That's why a lot of people were up in arms when there were rumors about Logan Paul versus Mayweather. They just don't like the hokey fights, because to them, they feel that it is poking fun at the true element of boxing, at the true ethos of boxing and competition, which I 100% understand. But this is the problem. Casual fans don't really know any of the fighters that we know. Casual fans don't know Errol Spence Jr. Casual fans, believe it or not, don't know Terrence Crawford. They might know Canelo to a certain extent, but they don't know people like even Gennady Golovkin. They don't know people like Shakur Stevenson. They don't know people like the Charlo brothers. So they have to have a gateway to get in there to know who these people are. They have to have a gateway to get in there to even spark interest when it comes to boxing on a professional level. They need something, and the only way you can kind of pull them over is through these spectacle events. That is one of the reasons why my argument for Logan Paul versus KSI 3 was a positive one in the respect that they can bring in casual fans. Now, am I going to watch Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones? Yes, I'm going to watch it. This is the thing. I can separate my brain. I can make that separation and say to myself, this is like watching a movie. Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones is just a piece of entertainment. It's an entertainment spectacle. I love boxing, and this is taking something that I love and just creating a movie out of it. It's like watching. It's like if I went to watch Creed or Rocky. I know that that fight or whatever that isn't going to tell me who's the next best, heavyweight or next best welterweight or whatever. I know that that's just telling me that, look, this is something fun to watch. And that's how I'm seeing Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones. I've broken it up in my brain where I know that this is not a competitive fight, but it's still something that is incredibly interesting. You remember Roy Jones and how cool he was when he was fighting. You remember Mike Tyson and how devastating he was when he was fighting. Now they're old men. I wonder what it would look like for them to fight and what would happen. Also, I don't mind seeing Jake Paul versus Nate Robinson because Nate Robinson is actually a professional athlete or was a professional athlete. So he has that caveat to him, and Jake Paul hasn't lost and is willing to fight all these people and has been training in boxing for like 3 years. So, interesting fight. Interesting fight. Do I see it as, who's going to come out as the next top welterweight? No, it's two different things. When I watch boxing, like a normal fight, for example, a Charlo's brother fight or a Canelo fight, I'm looking at it with the intent of what's going to come out of this fight, how each boxer is going to look, and what's the future of each fighter moving forward. I'm not looking at this fight like that. I'm looking at this fight as pure entertainment. Now, I'm asking you guys to simply be able to bite the bullet for these kind of events, because these events can open up boxing. We can accidentally keep cannibalizing the sport where the sport no longer exists. We cannot try to continue to cut off our nose, as they say, in spite of our face. So basically hurting ourselves just for the principle of what we believe in boxing, where later down the line, there are no more publishers for boxing. There are no more promoters because there's no more money in it. You'll keep on. We can't also be the problem that continues to bleed the sport. We should support this. And if it does eclipse Mayweather, Pacquiao, or Mayweather, McGregor, that's great, because that means more eyeballs are on it. That means that there are aspects of boxing that can generate casual fans and casual viewership, and that we can somehow parlay this system into gaining more fans for the actual boxing events. So these events, the lightning in a bottle fights, which is what I called it when I was talking about the KSI versus Logan Paul fight, are important, because right now we don't really have a major pay-per-view star, which is kind of deadly for the sport, not to have a major pay-per-view star. Canelo is kind of there, but not 100%, like when it was Oscar De La Hoya, and when it was Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao's back, but there has been some, reduction in his viewership because of the fact that, he lost to Mayweather and he was knocked out and all these different things. So whatever lightning in a bottle event could be made, no matter how circus-like it is, it's still something that can bring attention to the sport that can then create a ripple effect to bring attention to more mainstream fighters or fighters that matter, like Errol Spence versus Terrence Crawford, those kind of events. Is this event somewhat of a circus? Yes, but you can like boxing and go to the circus and watch a circus show. I'm just there to see the trapeze artists, and then when I go home, I'll go watch my boxing fight. They don't have to be one and the same in your mind. You can separate them. Watch one as a spectacle, watch one purposefully for the future of boxing, but also understand the magnitude of these lightning in a bottle events, because they can help the sport by bringing in more casual boxing fans. All I'm saying is, don't be so quick to judge these events and put them in the same kind of pot as a normal boxing fight, because it's not the same. This is a show, and the other fights are actual boxing fights. But hopefully I cleared up anything that was not factual or skewing the information, making you believe that there weren't going to be knockouts and there weren't going to be a winner and all that stuff. There is just in a loophole fashion behind the entire California State Athletic Commission rules, and it will be all done remotely. But it's going to be a big event. There's going to be performances, and supposedly they've spent an unprecedented amount of money for the spectacle of this event. So honestly, you don't want to really miss it. To be honest, you really don't want to miss it. Just don't focus on it being a real boxing fight. Just look at it like you're watching a movie. This is another Creed or another Rocky movie. That's it. If you look at it like that, you'll be able to just sit down, watch it, and enjoy it for what it is. Hopefully this video was informative for you guys. You want to hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, because we are evolving boxing commentary here on Boxing Fanatico. This is Edward, and I'm out.